this event, The Power of Prosperity, powered by Entergy and by Stackwell, and we're so happy that you were able to join us today. My name is Tori Fingal. I am an alumnus of the Xavier University, class of 2008, with a degree in chemistry. I was recently named one of Xavier's 40 under 40, and my wife and I just planted a church 2 years ago on the West Bank of New Orleans, and so we're really excited to be here with you today. And listen, our friends at Stackwell and at Entergy Corporation have teamed up to make a lasting impact in closing the racial wealth gap here in New Orleans. And so both of these teams and myself, we're committed to fostering financial empowerment and education for all of you students who are in attendance today. And so Xavier University, Dillard University, Southern University at New Orleans, can we just give yourselves a hand for being here today and investing in your future? And with that, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce you all to Marcus Brown, who's coming now for some opening remarks. He is the Executive Vice President and General Counsel at Entergy, and he's going to share some more about why we are here today. Let's give him a great big round of applause as he comes.
Thank you, Tori, and thank all of you for being here. I first want to start with thanking Trevor and Stackwell for the partnership that we have entered into to put on this Power of Prosperity program with you all. And I want to welcome the many freshman students here in the audience from Xavier, Dillard, and Southern University of New Orleans. We are about to start a process that will teach each of you how to make money moves. I am pleased to be joined here today by two of my executive colleagues from Entergy. Kimberly Cook-Nelson, our Chief Nuclear Officer, is sitting right here, and Catherine Collins, our Chief Human Resource Officer. You always want to know who the Chief Human Resource Officer is, so Catherine is sitting right up front in the middle right here. Now, a little bit about Entergy. We are an electric energy company that provides service to 3 million customers in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. We are the only Fortune 500 company located in New Orleans, and we are one of only 2 Fortune 500 companies in the state of Louisiana. Now, you might ask yourself, why is Entergy partnering with Stackwell to teach brown and black students and their families how to overcome the generational wealth gap? Well, at Entergy, when we think about investing our resources and the time of our nearly 13,000 employees and in the communities that we serve, we focus on 4 key areas: education, workforce development, the environment, and creating solutions for poverty. So investing in students and the communities is core to our values at Entergy. We live here, we work here. What matters to the communities that we serve matters to us. So today, Entergy is honored to donate $700,000. Get a clap for $700,000. Donated $700,000 to our HBCU partners for this program at Stackwell. The program will provide financial support, professional guidance, and seeded investment accounts for each of you for a total of 1,500 students to be supported in this program from the local schools. Now for us, this is a pilot program that we plan to expand to other HBCUs in the years ahead. And when you think about the places that we provide service, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, there are a lot of HBCUs that provide us the opportunity to extend this program. Now, like the students here today, I also attended an HBCU. My time at Southern University was transformative, shaping not only my education, but my character and my values. And my son, Christopher Brown, who I think is here today, just walked in, is also a proud graduate of Xavier University. So I know firsthand the power of these remarkable institutions. They believe in you. They tell you you can do things when others doubt you. So I wholeheartedly believe that when we invest in HBCU students like you, we are investing in the next generation of leaders who will shape our communities, drive innovation, and bring about positive change. You know, one of the interesting things about being a parent to people from your generation is that I get to hear a lot of conversations. I get to hear my kids sit in the living room talking to their friends about becoming millionaires, in some cases billionaires. And what I'm hearing in most cases, they don't have a clue as what they're talking about. You know, they have no idea what it takes to become, you know, that wealthy. But this type of program is what will help you achieve your financial goals. Through this partnership with Stackwell, our goal is to help you graduate with a degree, enhance your financial acumen, and build wealth with intention. We believe this program will arm each of you with the information to help set you on the path to creating sustainable, generational wealth. Now, we know that eliminating poverty and closing the racial wealth gap cannot be solved by a single program or through a single entity. But when leaders come together across the spectrum and partner, we can work collaboratively and make a positive difference. Our hope with this program is to begin bridging the racial wealth gap, one student at a time. So in closing, I want to again express our deep appreciation to our partners, Stackwell Capital, Single Stop, and the leaders of Xavier University, Dillard University, Southern University of New Orleans, and each of you for embarking on this journey with us. This is how together we power life today and for future generations. Thank you.
$700,000 investment into this community. What a great investment. All right, so how many of you registered for this because you heard we was giving away some stuff? Can I? Yeah. All right, y'all ready to get something? Okay, that's a little whack. All right, y'all ready to get something? All right, here's what we're giving away first. The first thing we're giving away is a $50 gift card to Monday's Restaurant. Anybody ever been at Monday? Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right up there. Yep. And so, the winner, can somebody give me a drum roll? Joshua Cost, C-O-S-T-E. Where are you, Josh? Come on down! Yep, finish that last bite of food. Come on, put the music up so he can come on down with some music from me, please. Come on, Josh, take your time. Doc, you gotta get out of here in a few. Put your pants up, you'll be able to walk faster. I'm just playing. Come on down. Suno University's own. Hold up, what was that? That's what I'm talking about. Listen, it's very important. Y'all, we all in this together, ain't we? Xavier, Dillard, Suno, we all in this together, aren't we? Yeah, we're going to close this racial wealth gap. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is through this amazing partnership, this amazing app that you see all around. It's called Stackwell. And this was founded by a brother who is just so impressive. And y'all going to hear from, as a matter of fact, we're going to hear from him right now. The CEO and founder of Stackwell is coming. Trevor Roger Bird is coming now to talk about Stackwell and all that it means for us today.
Appreciate you, Tori. Good afternoon. Good to see everybody. First of all, I want to say thank you to Marcus Brown and the team at Entergy for your partnership around this program. Just so all of you in this room know, I had the good fortune of meeting Marcus about a year ago this time at a basketball game for the Pelicans. And through some conversations with Marcus and some of his colleagues, Patty, Christine, and others, this idea, this event, this moment that we're having in this room right now all came to fruition. So thank you for your belief in me and this idea, and certainly your commitment to invest in the community here, and certainly HBCU students, because you all are our future. I want to just start very quickly by giving you a little bit of background on who I am, what Stackwell is, why we're here, why this company even exists. So really quickly, I started my professional career as a corporate transactional lawyer in New York City. What that means is I was building financial products for some of the world's largest companies like Entergy, helping them go to market, raise capital to go off and do what they do. I progressed in my career a bit, ultimately moved over to the business side and was a strategy and corporate development person working in asset management and finance at one of the world's largest banks. And through all of that, what I consistently saw was that the stock market was such a powerful and profound tool to help build wealth for many people in this country. And frankly, more often than not, I never saw people that looked like me in those spaces. Just a really quick aside about why this moment today is so important, why this program is so important. The first deal that I ever did when I graduated from law school was for one of Bob Johnson's companies. Do any of the students in the room know who Bob Johnson is? So Bob Johnson is the founder of BET. And I will never forget being a 27-year-old kid at the financial printers. That's where you go to do deals. And everybody on my side of the table was an older white male. Everybody on his side was black. They looked like me. It was the first time that I had ever seen an all-black management team in my entire life. And 20 years later, it is still the only time that I've ever seen an all-black management team in my professional career. But that moment was extremely profound for me, because it was in that moment that I believed that one day I could be a CEO of a company. I believed that I could take a company public, that I could do all of the things that I'm doing right now. It gave me the confidence to quit my job and start Stackwell and stand before you today. And so with that very deep understanding of how important representation is, I felt like 2 to 3 years ago when I decided to found Stackwell that it was important for me to step out here and impart some of the learnings and education that I had about the financial markets and what they can mean for more people in my community. Because I felt like knowledge was power, and the information that I had taught me that getting into the financial markets is actually a lot more accessible than many people in our community. And so back in 2020, when everybody was seemingly awakening to the fact that the racial wealth gap was a thing, when COVID hit, and certainly post George Floyd, for me, I was really frustrated in that moment. And I felt like it was a moment in time for everyone else. It was not for me. Every single day I woke up and I'm still a black man in this country, as many of you in this room are. And we know what that means. And so for me, what Stackwell is actually about, it's not just about helping you to get into the financial markets so that you can grow your money and generate a little bit of return. It's about a profound understanding that access to capital, or lack thereof, directly impacts our ability to shape outcomes that matter in our lives and in our communities. Right? And so as Marcus was talking about when he was up here before, Stackwell is about investing in communities. This program is about investment in HBCU students in the broader New Orleans community, because we know if we help you get into a position where you can grow your money, you will have greater agency and control to shape and direct the outcomes that matter for you today, for your families in the future, for your community, and just the broader reach that you have for generations to come. So with that, I'll pause. I'll turn it back over to Tori, but I just want you all to know we are so unbelievably appreciative and grateful to be a part of your journey. The team at Entergy and Stackwell is proud to be a part of this process with you. Look forward to engaging with you over the course of the program throughout this next year, and really looking forward to a thoughtful and engaging conversation that we will have today with myself and the other panelists that are here. So thank you for being here, and looking forward to the conversation to come.
Hey, listen, did you all hear that we are giving away $250? Anybody want to win $250? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a game of trivia. Look, they're coming from outside. We're going to play a game of trivia. So here's what I need you to do. Take your cell phones out, and I need you to scan this QR code. I need you to scan this QR code. Scan this QR code and click that link that comes up and enter your first and last name so that we can start the game, all right? Y'all getting it? Y'all getting it? Y'all getting it? Scan the QR code. Yep, put your first name in, your last name in, and click start, and we're gonna get ready to play in just a second. Has anybody, when y'all were in school, were y'all using, what's it called, Kahoot? Yeah, y'all remember that? Okay, so you get more points. One, you gotta answer the question correctly, but secondly, the faster you answer the question, the more points you get, all right? All right, y'all download it, y'all ready to get started? Not yet? Oh, okay, don't worry, we're not gonna leave you. All right, we got about 10 more seconds. If you want to be eligible to win this money, you got to play to win. All right, we done? Everybody ready? Yeah. We're ready? All right, we got about 10 seconds. 9, thank you. Okay, that's it. Here we go. Are we ready to play? Okay, so this first question is just to make sure we all understand how to play the game, all right? So here's the first question. How would you describe your knowledge and understanding of investing? This one don't count, all right? This is just to make sure we know how to play the game. Y'all got no wrong answers here, no wrong answers. All right, let's go. All right, everybody clear on how to play? What were y'all answers? Any experts in here? Any financial experts? All right, we're good? We're about to play our first real question. You ready? The goal of investing is to A, generate income, B, achieve your financial goals, C, grow your wealth, D, all of the above. What's the answer? Well, don't tell it to me. Put it in the app. Don't tell me, y'all. D. All right, and the answer is D, all of the above. We're keeping track on the leaderboard. Who got that one right? Let me hear you. All right. Here we go. Next question. You ready? What is investing? What is investing? Go. Purchasing assets that you expect will increase in value over time. That's C. Who got that right? All right, y'all still in the game. All right, let's go to the next question. You ready? True or false? You what you contributed. True or false? You got 50-50 checks? Dr. Rubin, I already know you know the answer to this. I already know. All right, and the answer is true. Sounds like you got that one. Who got that one right? Okay, y'all. This is the last one. Last one. The key to investing is chasing market trends. The answer is false. How many of us got that one? Is the winner coming from Xavier University? We got Vanna Black totaling up everything for us. Y'all know who Vanna White is, do y'all? Kennedy Rise! Come on now, Kennedy! Come on, y'all, make some noise for Kennedy! $50 cash investment to get you started on the Stackwell app. Oh, absolutely. Turn around and take a picture for us. And what school do you go to? Dillard University! All right, y'all, listen, hey, we're gonna get to our panel in just 1 second. As a matter of fact, let's have our panelists come up at this time. We're getting ready to transition. This is going to be a fantastic conversation. As I was walking around and kind of talking to some of the people here and some of the people from Entergy and some of the people from Stackwell, there was a common theme. You know what that common theme was? I wish someone would have told me this when I was their age. Any adults in the room like, man, I wish I would have learned about investing when I was in college. And yep. Somebody said, man, if I had learned about investing when I was their age, I'd probably be in the Maldives right now. I was like, I don't even know where the Maldives are. But it's so important for us to have these conversations so that we can make sure that we are a part of everything that's happening in the world. So listen, I'm going to have the panelists introduce themselves. You've heard from some of them already. Trevor, you've already talked a little bit, but hey, introduce yourself again. And here's what I want you to, as you're introducing yourself, I want you to talk about, very quickly, maybe give us a story about how money was talked about when you were growing up in your house.
Okay, so Trevor Rosierbird, and founder and CEO of Stackwell. In my house, we didn't really talk about it, honestly. I knew it was something that my parents thought about, were concerned about. It was impacting their day-to-day lives, but we never had any conversations at our dinner table. We never talked about investing. It was just kind of, I guess, taboo. I knew we needed money to do the things that we were doing, but nobody talked about it, and I didn't know whether we had a lot of it, a little of it. It just wasn't discussed.
Hey, does that sound like anybody's house growing up? We didn't talk about money. We didn't talk about budgeting, investing. We didn't talk about anybody. Okay. Elena?
Yes. Hi, my name is Elena Fingal. I am the owner of The Organized Money. I have a YouTube channel, Instagram, and TikTok under that name, The Organized Money. My audience is around 300,000, and I just help people learn how to budget, save, and get out of debt. And money in my home was talked about in a basic way. So we would talk mainly about staying away from credit cards, being consistent, getting a 9 to 5, but nothing about investing or anything deeper than just stay away from credit cards and make money and make sure you pay all your bills.
Did anybody hear that conversation growing up? Hey, just make money, and we don't even got to talk about investing or any stock market, you know. Just go get you a 9 to 5, get you a good paying job, and everything else will take care of itself. Did anybody have a conversation like that growing up? Okay, well maybe Keith Darrow.
Yes, thank you so much. So my name is Keith Darrow Graham, and I am the founder and executive director of Black Girls in Boardrooms, which is a New Orleans-based nonprofit organization committed to the personal and professional development of Black women and girls. Through our partnership, we support students at Dillard University as well as other organizations here locally in New Orleans. So that is what I do, and then I am a proud HBCU graduate. I graduated from Howard University in 2015, and immediately after graduating from Howard University with a finance degree, I moved to New York City, where I began working in the wealth management industry. So for nearly the last decade, I've been at UBS, which is the world's largest wealth management firm, and I was responsible for our business across the Southeast United States territory. So to answer your question, much like everyone else, right, we had very, very basic conversations about money in my family, and it's one of the things that led me right to major in finance. I was like, I don't know anything about this, right? And I had friends who were having certain conversations, but I also want to kind of just debunk the myth that our community is the only community not talking about money, right? The reality is that regardless if you have a lot of money or a little money, money is a taboo conversation, right? I think we have this fear of being judged, right? Like, what are people gonna think about me if I don't have enough money? What are my kids gonna think about me if I don't have enough money? And then there is also a little bit of shame if you have too much of it, right? You know, maybe I don't identify with the people around me and the struggles that they're having, right? And so there's this fear of being judged when we talk about money. And so I think that's why most people do what, you know, we tend to do when we have to have difficult conversations, which is just avoid them.
Wow, that is so interesting. And then just being a part of the institution that's managing the largest wealth management organization, that's so big. Like, thank you for being here. Can we give her a round of applause, please? Damon?
Why you gotta look at me all serious? She gotta stare at me.
I'm sorry.
What's up? We turn everybody up. Now, hello everyone. My name is Dana Wilson. I am the CEO and founder of CHIP, which stands for Changing How Individuals Prosper. What we do is we help individuals get access to financial professionals, whether that's tax, financial advisors, those who can kind of help you manage your money, coaches as well. And our goal is to ensure that everyone has access similar to Stackwell, but really connecting you to that financial human capital. My background has been in financial services, so I've spent about over 16 years in wealth management, also was an investment advisor in my past career before jumping into financial technology. Also a proud HBCU graduate from North Carolina Central University, so I guess we can have this whole beautiful HBCU connection up here. But in my household, I grew up in a single parent household. My mother was dynamic and just not letting me know what potentially was probably going on. But she did a wonderful, wonderful job of just making sure I understood the power of money. She worked at the same company for well over 45 years, which is just something that we do not do nowadays. So she was always talking to me about how to manage it correctly, how to make sure that I was budgeting to stay away from debt and credit cards. But I also think that we need to change the conversation around that as well. In our thinking around what debt means and also kind of the power of that. But it was really about, getting a good job, you graduate from college, you get a 9-to-5, you get something that has a steady paycheck. I obviously did that for a little while and then went into the startup world, but it's a wonderful space to be in.
Wow. Can we just give our panelists a hand on the front end? And so we're gonna have, these conversations are so important. Keith Era mentioned it, and Keith Era, I'm gonna go to you now. But she mentioned it, we're not the only people not having these conversations, but these conversations are so incredibly important. And so when it comes to something like wealth means something different to everyone. Keith, what does wealth mean to you?
Yes, that's a really good question. So I think personally for me, wealth really boils down to having the access and resources, right, to ensure that I'm leaving a multi-generational legacy, right, of financial independence, opportunity, freedom for my family, but also for my community. So, I think a lot of times we tend to look at wealth as how much money can I get, right? But I think it's really about, do you have enough money, right, to achieve whatever your specific goals are, right? Which is why I think the question of what does it mean to you is so important.
That's so good. Elaine, I'm going to ask you the same question because I think you have a good answer to that as well.
Yeah, so for me personally, I know when I first started my financial journey, it was out of a necessity for peace. I was struggling a lot with money, which caused me to have a lot of financial anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of overwhelm, and that is what kind of started my journey, is going after peace. So wealth to me has always been being able to swipe my card and not worry that it's going to process or go through when I'm staying in that account.
That's so important. So important, that peace of mind, like knowing the phone is ringing and I know it's not a bill collector, so I can answer and I don't have to scream. Like, that's important. Trevor, I want to talk to you though, because when you're talking about, wealth and peace and being able to accomplish goals, you can't do that on your own, right? You need some help. You need something or some type of thing that can help you manage it. But one of the things that we kind of wrestle with in our community is a mistrust of financial institutions. I don't know about y'all. I have a grandmother that didn't trust banks. She had money under mattresses and all of that stuff because she was like, they're gonna steal my money. So I'm just curious if you've ever dealt with kind of mistrust of a financial organization or institution, and I'd love for you to talk a little bit about how Stackwell is kind of pushing back against that.
Yeah, I love the question, and it's honestly one of the reasons why I founded the company in the first place, because I think that there are a whole host of social, emotional, and cultural barriers to entry that exist in our community, and our lived experiences tell us that, like your grandmother did, maybe I should keep my money in my house as opposed to in the bank because I'm not sure if they're going to treat me fairly, right? So those are real things that we have to encounter and deal with in our lives and in our families. But I think when it comes to investing in particular, I think a lot of times people in our community don't invest because they think it's an overly risky proposition. They think that you have to be extremely well educated about finance and investing in particular to get started. They think that you need to have a lot of money in order to participate. And it goes back to what I was saying before, I started my career in this space building financial products. I know how they work, I know how the market works, I know how protective it actually is of individual investors like all of us. And what those experiences taught me is that many of the perceptions that we have in our community, many of the things that we see on TV, the hyper-frenetic pace with which the financial markets are portrayed to us, those things couldn't be further from the truth.
So you mean like the Wolf of Wall Street movies like that?
Yeah, I mean, that happens, don't get me wrong, but that's not how you're supposed to be participating in the market. And so that's why I set out to found Stackwell, because in a very real way, everything about this company, about this process that we're hoping to go through with all of you is very much data-driven in nature. We know that going all the way back to the 1920s, that the stock market has produced an 8.5% rate of return every year on average. So just think about that. What if your grandmother's money that was in her house was growing at 8.5% every year?
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think this is very important. Can I just show of hands, who desires to have pursue education after undergrad, med school, law school, go get a master's degree, things like that? Yeah. Trevor, can you talk about how you used investing for that? I think it's really cool.
Sure. So I started investing when I was 22 years old, my first job out of college. And again, it wasn't something that I was used to, exposed to, or anything like that. I just was very fortunate that one of my best friends from high school, his dad was a financial advisor. He sat me down after work one night and he taught me the power of long-term passive investing. And it gave me the confidence to get out and start to try. So I graduated college in 2005, so I'm dating myself a little bit. But one of the first investments that I made was Apple. So I bought Apple stock in 2005. They had just released the iPhone. So all they really had were, computers and iPods. It wasn't like really a thing. It wasn't ubiquitous the way that it is today. But I bought $2,000 worth of Apple stock for $68 a share. And 3 years later, it was worth $400 a share, and it paid for a year of law school. And so that experience right there, like, told me everything that I needed to know about investing. And I think a lot of times, again, back to some of the misperceptions about this process, I think a lot of times people are like, you're either a saver and an investor for 30 years, or you just spend your money, and there's no in between. And so you can't plan for a year from now, or 3 years from now, or 10 years from now. But everything that I've done in my life, whether it was going to law school, getting married, buying a house, having children, it's all because I was an investor and I was able to prepare for those moments in ways that having a job and collecting a paycheck would have never allowed me to do.
Oh my goodness. The first year of law school paid for because he started investing. Man, that is so incredible. That's so incredible because I got Sally Mae on my neck right now to pay these folks back. Dana, I want to talk to you for a second because as Trevor was talking about, getting in and making wise decisions, and he said, 22 years old when he started. I mean, some of us were, at 22 years old, I wasn't thinking about the stock market at all. I wasn't thinking about investing at all. And so I'm curious about what things you were doing when you were making some of these young folks' age. How old are we in here? 18, 19, 14, 13? How old are you? Y'all look like children. I was 17, 18, 19 years old. What were some of the things that you were doing? Even some of the mistakes you might have made when you were sitting in their seats?
Yeah, I would say when I first started working, I started working in banking, so I was in finance. And I would say for me at that point, graduating college about the same time, traveling around 2006, the banking world was kind of booming and they were the first hiring. I had no interest in finance going into that as a profession. I was actually a marketing major, still loved that creative side. But for me, it was one of those things where, hey, I'll take this job until, right? And then over 16 or so years later, I'm still here. So on another note, always be open to different career paths. But on a side note to answer your question, when I first started working, because I was in the banking industry, I was just always around money and learning and understanding how it works, all of these different people down, and really understanding just the count of money, holding money. So for that, it was just really paying attention to what other people in the bank were teaching me, were telling me how to spend my money, and really looking at things not just from a paycheck to paycheck perspective, but from a couple months out to a year. I remember when I first started working, I was eating out all the time, probably some part of breakfast and especially lunch. I was eating out all of the time. And it got to a point where I really sat down and started working on the minimal budget I understood how to put together. And I was just like, I'm spending well over probably 100 or probably a lot more than that per month or on an annual basis for lunch. So from that point on, I just kind of started to change a little bit of my behaviors in bringing my lunch to work and kind of making that time to set up that time to do that, although it seems like a very cumbersome process, and we see all these people meal prepping now. But from a financial perspective, it makes the world a difference, right? Really looking and making sure that all of the money that you're making and every dollar you're bringing in, even now as college students, how many of you all have work studying jobs? Awesome. I did work study in college too. So making sure that even with that money that you're earning, if it's not having to go directly to you paying your bills here for school, also seeing how else you can kind of start to monetize and budget for that money, right? So it's all the things that we start to look at. And post-graduation too, it's making sure that, hey, I know the salary that I'm going to be making, what your bills are going to be, and really looking at all of that, putting a budget together, not feeling like, hey, I have to wait till I get to that point of life to start looking at what I might possibly be spending. The decisions that you start making right at graduation make such a big difference how you set yourself up in the next few months or a year after that.
That's a very good point. Not waiting or feeling like you need to wait until you have like a certain amount of money to make a certain move. Elaine, I want to come to you now because Dana, you mentioned a buzzword, budget. And most of us, at least for me, I don't know that I ever heard the word budget or budget growing up being used in a positive way, right? It was always, well, we can't get that because we're on a budget, right? It wasn't a good thing, or it the word doesn't conjure up positive feelings. So I guess I think it would be important, like, what is a budget? Like, what does it mean to budget, and what does it mean to live by a budget, and why does it feel so restrictive?
Yeah, I think it's all in how you think about it. When we think of the word budget, if you think of it in a restrictive way, then it will be used in a restrictive way. If you think of it as a word of freedom, then it will become that for you. When I started budgeting, whenever I budgeted in a restrictive way, it never lasted. I would start the process and then I would always fall off. But when I started budgeting my money where I wanted it to go, I would set aside money for my bills, and then I started budgeting for fun, budgeting for things that I wanted to do, for the entertainment, for the shopping, for all of the other things that I wanted to do, put money aside for my future, and then I saw what I had left. Then it made the process more enjoyable.
Wait, did you say budget for fun?
Yes.
Okay, I've never heard that before I met Elena, who happens to be my wife, if I didn't mention that earlier. Hey, he said that. But that's a great point. Like, did you all, if you hear the word budget, I thought of budgeting as like something that keeps me from fun. Right? I can't go to the movies, or I can't go to this concert, or I can't go do this thing that I want to do because I am on a budget. But you just said you can budget fun.
Yes. Yes, and so now that Tori has mentioned that we're married, when we first got married, that was one of the things that we discussed. Is when I would say, let's budget. And, it would be a shutdown, because if you've ever had family members or friends and you start saying, oh, I want to do this or I want to do that, let's start budgeting and start looking at this. You may see a small shutdown, mainly because people may not understand the concept. However, if you start to open yourself up to say, okay, this is something that I want to do. How can I plan my money, set up routines, meal prep, and do things so that I can achieve this goal? Then it makes the process way more fun, and you're way more open to doing more things with your money. You'll start to see opportunities where you can invest in things like where we're talking about the Stackwell app and putting small amounts aside. You'll be able to see where you start to see more opportunities instead of the restrictive process that budgeting may have been considered in the past.
That's so good. Here's the challenge for a lot of us. We are almost like flying a plane or building a house without instructions, right? Because if we're not having these conversations at home, and like we just said, a few of us were raising our hands, we didn't talk about money, we didn't talk about investing, all we knew is either we got McDonald's money or we don't. But so if we don't know, what are some milestones that even these college students or even us as adults should be kind of aiming for to kind of let us know we're on the right track towards building wealth?
Yeah, that's a really, really excellent question. So I think the first thing that we need to start with is changing our mindset, our attitude, right? Our relationship with money. So I would say that is the number one thing. How do we do that? We remove the taboo. We remove kind of this veil of secrecy around it, right? We start talking to our friends like Tara did. Right, we start talking about it. Conversation equals connection, right? And so you want to start connecting with people around the concept of money so that we get comfortable with it. So that's the first thing I would say, is to shift your mindset around money. Some other milestones, my mom is here, and one of the very first things that she did for me was, I was in college, and as I kind of started to move through, I got towards, my junior year and my senior year, and much like me and you, was like, you need to be able to get a job, right? Like, you went all the way to Howard, you need to be able to get you a job, right? And so, we start thinking about things like cars and buying homes, and and a lot of times we want to jump to those things, right? But it is a slow process, right? It's really staying consistent, staying disciplined over time. And one of the first things that she did was, I lived across the street from a mall, and there was a Victoria's Secret there, And so I went over to the mall and I got approved for a Victoria's Secret credit card of $250, right? There's a point, I promise, right? And I had an accountability buddy, right, who once a month, I would be able to treat myself and go buy something on my Victoria's Secret credit card, and I would make the transaction, and I would stand there, and I would say, okay, now I want to pay it off. So if I spent $75, right, I would stand there and pay the balance off, right, before I even left, to make sure that I was building credit. I was building credit history over time, right? And so I'm not saying that that is what everyone should do, but I would say what talking about it does is you get to take advantage of the knowledge that other people have gained, right? And so when you're not talking about it, you're not having conversations, you have to learn about trial and error, which is how many of us end up learning, right? Is that there's a taboo around this conversation, so we're not talking to the people that we should be having these conversations with, right? In order to do business with someone, to hire them as your financial advisor, I talk to my advisors a lot about this. You have to build their trust, right? Trust is the foundation of everything, and so you want to tap into those people in your life that you already trust, right, to start having those conversations. So your first credit card is certainly a milestone, right? I would say, here's another thing that I want students specifically to think about. So in my work with Black girls in boardrooms, we do a lot of research around the wealth gap, right? And the reality is that by the time you graduate from college, that gap is already starting, right? Because what tends to happen is African Americans, Black folks, people in our community tend to be underrepresented, right, in the higher paying fields, right, and we tend to be overrepresented in the lower paying fields. And so as you are picking your majors, right, I'm not telling you to pick something so that you can go out and get this high paying job, but you do want to consider what your earnings potential will be in your field, right? And I'm gonna keep it real with you and say, look at the value, right, that you will get once you leave college, right? And you should start thinking about what opportunities there are going to be available to you in your field, what type of financial independence or freedom you will be able to gain, right, by the specific field or major that you're in. So those are kind of some of the things that I think in college you can start to think about right now. Also, last thing is there is so much information out here. Social media, TikTok, everybody. Elena, right? I've been following the Organized Money for so long, so I'm kind of fangirling just a little bit, right? But there are so many people now with the power of social media who look like us, who are having these conversations and giving the access. So follow one or two folks, on Instagram who are talking about this. Follow them on TikTok, right? So even if you're not sitting down and taking a finance course, you are at least putting yourself in positions to get access to knowledge maybe that, you're not getting in day-to-day conversation with your friends and family.
I just want to pick up on a couple of things that all three of them just mentioned. So as I'm sitting here listening to you all, what I hear is behaviors, habits, intentionality, normalizing conversation, building community. That is literally what this program is doing for all of you, right? You now have a community of people that you can have conversations with. You can look at each other as investors, as something that maybe you never thought of as yourselves before. And you have this unique opportunity across schools, across campuses in this city to talk to other people about what you envision for your future. You can keep each other honest and encourage one another. Maybe we're not going out this weekend. Maybe we're going to put some money into our Stackwell account. I don't know. I probably wouldn't have done that as a college kid, but you guys have that opportunity. But seriously, this is a really unique and special opportunity that you all have in front of you. And one of the things that I was going to say before about, why I built this company and the facts around all of this, We actually know that the most important asset that anyone has is time. You have that, all of you, the students in this room, have that in abundance, right? The thing for me that makes that so powerful is, I'll just throw one quick scenario at you. If you all did nothing more than invest $1 a day, so $30 a month for the next 30 years, and you got that same rate of return that I talked about before, so 8.5%. At the end of that period, you would have nearly 2 times more wealth than the median black family has in this country today. It can be that simple, right? And so we have kick-started this process for you with the gracious help of Entergy, but like, it is all within you all's capacity to do this. You have the community to support you. You have the space to have those conversations. And through this program, you can start to help build the behaviors that are required to help set you up for long-term financial success.
And let me add this, and Elena has a reach of well over 350,000 across all of her social media platforms. I know because I get to see them. I was there when she opened her 100K subscriber plaque for YouTube, and folks who started organizations and folks who are doing this work and didn't just like start it and leave, but they started and said, no, I want to see how I can use what I've learned to impact my community. So even after this event, they'll be here, they'll be down here on the floor, talk to them, get their information, get their LinkedIn profiles and see how you can DM them and things like that, because these are the conversations that we must have if we want to be able to leave generational wealth for our kids. And I know some of y'all are like, hey, kids, I'm still a kid myself, but listen, you have, like Trevor just said, you have time on your side that most of us don't, that we wish we did. As a matter of fact, we're about to go to Q&A, and as you all can ask your questions. All of the ways to submit your questions are on the screen. We want to make sure that you have an opportunity to submit your questions. You don't have to like raise your hand and ask, or we're not going to put you on the spot or anything like that. You can submit your questions anonymously there, and we'll be able to ask the panel. So you can start doing that now. Just the last question, and we'll go down the road, starting with you, Dana. What is something that you wish you had started earlier as it relates to this financial journey that they can start now?
I would say just putting money away sooner. So just investing earlier, like literally the minute you leave out of here, or if not now, right now, right? I think, all of the statistics and the numbers that Trevor were talking about, all of that is real. And it's not anything that is outside of your grasp. If you literally start investing at this point and really looking into your future potential, I like the fact that you said that, because that's so critical to really understand where you are going to be. If you do all of that now, I know it seems really far away, but these 4 years of college or however many years you have left, they go by fast. And the minute you hit those streets of adulting, like we like to say, it's a different experience, and we want to make sure that you're set up. So really start now.
Yeah, so I would say that building financial discipline is like flexing a muscle, right? You have to work at it, you have to stay consistent, right? You have to build the skill. So if there was one thing that I wish that I would have done is start that now, right? And it may seem silly to sit down with your, work study check that you know is going to go to whatever you have it allocated to, and I'm sure you do. But it's a lot easier to flex that muscle and build that muscle when you quite frankly just don't have a lot of money, right? More money, more problems. So it becomes more difficult to flex that muscle, to build that muscle. The more money you get. So I would say practice the habit, building your process around saving and budgeting, whatever that is, right? And keep yourself honest, do it consistently, do it over time. Once you have that budget, right, and you know how much disposable income you have, well then you have the power to say, this is what is feasible for me. This is what I'm going to commit to over time. Right, and you say, I'm going to start with $10. That's why platforms like Stackwell is so important, because you do not have to have a lot of money right, to get started, right? And so if you say all I can do is $25 a month, right, on the first of the month, then commit to that. $25 a month on the first of the month, and I am going to invest that, put that money into my Stackwell account, right? There are other platforms out there as well, some that focus on women, but this one is specific to our community, right? It is specific to you as young people, and so I think making sure that you just start to work at it, right? You don't wake up one day with a six-pack, right? You have to put the work in, you have to do it over time, you have to stay committed, and one day you will have a legacy to pass on to your family. I want to give a little shout out to my child who's in the audience on her phone. But yeah, those are things that I would do right now.
I'm going to piggyback off of what both of them have said, because one of the top mistakes that I made when I was younger, I was 22, I had just graduated from Xavier, and someone did tell me about investing, and I started investing, but I did not fully understand the process, so about 3 or 4 years in, I took all the money out. It was one of the biggest financial mistakes that I made, because once again, as Trevor said, I lost out on that time. And time is one of the best assets that you have. And so if you download the app and you're putting $10, $25 in, and you commit and you are consistent with doing that every single month, the biggest thing that you want to do is keep it there. Keep it there, let it do its thing, let it grow on its own, do not pull that money out, and you will see those years as they go by, how much that money will increase over time, and how much it will benefit you in the long run, because time is one of the best things that you have.
So I think all three of those answers were outstanding, and certainly can't top those, but I would just say for me, the thing that I wish I would have done sooner is been unafraid to ask questions. I think probably representative of other people in the room here, but I was afraid, ashamed about what I didn't know. I thought that this wasn't a space for me. I thought I wasn't smart enough to participate, all of those things. And so it stunted my growth in a lot of ways, because there were things that I probably could have taken advantage of earlier in my adult life, in my financial career, had I just asked the question, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is it's okay if you don't know, and don't be afraid to ask, because at the end of the day, you're making a collective set of investments in yourself, in school, in life, in your professional career. And I fundamentally believe that part of the trait that we're all going through in our day-to-day lives is that you're going to show up, you're going to do whatever it is that you're doing, and you're going to invest in other people in other spaces, and those same people and spaces should give back to you. So take what you deserve. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I think it will pay dividends for you in the long run.
Take what you deserve. Did y'all hear that? You deserve to be wealthy. You deserve to be able to leave a legacy for your family. You deserve, this isn't a handout. This is something that's going to build wealth for generations to come. Can we give them just one hand real quick? So Trevor said, one of the things that he wished he would have done was ask more questions. And we have some fantastic questions coming in from our audience. And again, you can just scan that QR code to submit your questions anonymously. The ones that are coming in are, there seems to be this trend of prioritizing paying off debt or investing. That's what it seems to be. There's a lot of questions about that. Oh, well, I'm young, but I still have credit card debt. Should I pay off that debt first, or should I invest first? Or what should I do? And so, Trevor, we'll start with you there, and then Elena, I'm sure everybody has something to add to that.
I'm interested to see what their answers are. I'm going to say something that maybe is unconventional, but I would argue that you should be investing to accelerate your.
We've only seen money coming in as a result of me going into work or my parents going into work and doing a 9 to 5. So like investing doesn't seem like an income strategy. It seems like it's taking money out of my pocket. But what Trevor just said is you can use investing to accelerate your ability to pay off debt. That's so good.
I absolutely agree. It's both. You want to do both. You want to invest and pay down debt. One thing that I realized is that when I first entered the job market at 22, I was putting a small money aside into my investing, and then I was also prioritizing high interest debt. So I was paying off my credit cards and things that had a higher interest rate. As I grew in the job market, as the years went on, my income increased. And so then my numbers increased. I was able to pay down debt faster and invest more. So the main thing that you have to realize, especially when it comes down to investing, is back to what we said originally, is time. Time is the best resource that you have now, and you don't want to wait trying to prioritize debt that you lose the time that you could have in the years of investing. So you want to do both. Put money aside for investing and pay down debt.
Yeah, I echo both of those sentiments. I also want to point out the fact that, like, you know, with small amounts of money and consistent investing in apps like Stackwell and other kind of online investment platforms, you actually get a lot of market exposure, right? Because you're investing in things like mutual funds.
What is market exposure? What that mean?
So it just means being able to like access large parts of the market. So instead of you taking your $25 and investing in one specific stock or bond, you would invest $25 in something like Stackwell, right, which is going to give you access to a basket of securities, right? So that $25 might give you exposure to 10 or 15 different stocks, right, depending on, and I'm sure probably more than that, but you know, so it just takes your money and spreads it out across securities so that you are accessing more of the market. So so that's the only thing that I would add is right, you want to invest so that you are getting extra income to pay off your debt, but like companies like Stackwell really help take your money and multiply it, right? And like make sure that you are not invested in one specific thing and you're really taking advantage of the market. So.
That's fantastic. Dan, let me ask this because this is something else that keeps coming up. So, Xavier just talked about the different types of, there's different apps and all those things that you can use to kind of mitigate risk, right? So somebody asked about, there's different types of savings accounts. Which one should they be looking into now?
Yeah, I would say this depends on what you're trying to accomplish with the savings accounts. I think that's kind of the biggest thing, is really backing up and figuring out what are my goals that I have for my money and what am I trying to do. Because that will kind of set the path on why you're investing, how much you should be investing from a monthly perspective, and then how much you should be saving. So of course there's the traditional savings accounts that you have at your bank, or you can have a regular savings or a money market savings, which might give you a higher yield. And then depending on how old everyone is in the room, and then whether or not you have earned income, you can invest in different types of investment tools or accounts that allow you to kind of build on that compound interest that Trevor was talking about earlier. So I would say, kind of backing up to that first point of like, what am I trying to accomplish with my money? And then going to different institutions around what I am trying to save for. So maybe if it's money that you need in the next couple of months, and you don't necessarily, you need a tie for something that's very specific, and you need something very risk adverse, maybe it is just putting that money in your savings account within your bank, right? Maybe that makes more sense for that particular thing or that item. Or it is investing within the stock market alongside of your savings account. So it's really understanding what you're trying to save for, what that item is, how long you want your money kind of tied up in whatever vehicle it is that you're utilizing, so whatever it's savings or investment tool. and then kind of making sure that, hey, does this make sense for what I'm doing? And that kind of all goes back to what we've been talking about too, around budgeting and understanding how you're utilizing your money.
That's excellent. Trevor, this question is for you. What are some of the common pitfalls that new investors should be conscious about? We had a little bit of a conversation about this last week about crypto and all of these types of things. Like, what are some things that, like, as they're like investing, we're exploring this space. What are some things that they should be watching?
Before I answer that, I want to add to what David just said. So, very simple fundamental rule. Money never sleeps, right? So what that means to me is, regardless of what type of account that I want to have, I should always be putting my money in a place where it can grow. So whether we're talking about a checking account, a savings account, do not put your money into a bank account that does not pay you interest, period. If you are not getting interest, your money should not be there. So no matter what type of product you're talking about, make sure that it is always growing. And that's what we're talking about here. Like, you want to create opportunities for yourself to have passive streams of income that don't require you to show up anywhere to generate that income. So that's the first foundational, fundamental thing that we have to understand. When it comes to investing, again, like, I think this goes back to how the investing process is oftentimes portrayed to just the general public, right? It is hyper-frenetic. Every time you're, looking at social media or the news or whatever, it's like, oh, the S&P 500 was up or down 5% today. And that's portrayed in a way that's like anxiety-inducing. I would argue that what happens in the market today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next quarter, none of that matters at all. I don't ever look at my investment portfolio. The reason why I don't look at it is because I know the facts that I shared with you earlier today. Because over time, I'm going to be okay, just as all of you are going to be okay. And so what that means is we don't need to chase trends. It also means that we don't need to go out and buy meme stocks or crypto. I'm not going to make a value judgment about those things as assets, but what I can tell you is that investing is all about understanding that there is a risk continuum. On one end of the spectrum, you have bank deposits that are insured by the federal government. On the other end, you have things like, private securities, like venture capital investments, hedge funds, private equity. I would argue that crypto sits in that same bucket. And the reason that it sits in that same bucket is because oftentimes those markets are illiquid, which means it's very hard for you to get your money out if something happens. And if you're going to be investing in those spaces, you have to be really sure that you have the capacity, you have the assets behind you, that you'll be able to risk and lose all. And if that's not the case, you probably shouldn't be buying those things. So I would say the biggest lesson for any new investor to understand is it's okay to play the long game and just show up, diversify your investments across a range of different things. That's how you reduce your risk. Don't go chase trends, and understand that over time, like, the power of compound interest will do all of the hard work for you, and you don't have to go out and chase stocks, trends, opportunities, or anything like that. Just let the process do what it does.
So good. Elena, somebody asked this, and I think it was good. Did you find it hard to start investing? And I think it's a great question for us, because kind of the thing that we established here on the front end is that investing was not a part of financial conversations growing up. So you kind of had to overcome, at least in your mind, the barrier of this is not something that we do, and say, no, this is something I need to do. So one, was it hard to do that? And secondly, how did you do it?
I would say the most challenging part about starting investing is starting. It's the mindset. It's getting past the fear and anxiety that may come from that space. And the only way to move past that fear and anxiety is to start learning about the space, learning about the terms, watching different videos, reading books, just intaking information on a daily basis. Even if you take 10 to 15 minutes out of your day and read something or watch something or listen to a podcast, something that's going to help you on that journey, it starts to break down those barriers that you have in your mind, because we don't know what we don't know. And when we don't know something, a lot of times we can villainize it or we can feel like it's not for us. But the more you start to learn about that topic, the less fearful you are of that topic and the more likely you are to start it.
I mean, for me growing up, my mama was in church every day, so something she didn't understand, it was just the devil. It was just the devil, right? Pray about it, yeah. But just exposing yourself and kind of taking the boogeyman off of it is huge. And so I'll close with this, and I want to get one from each of you. I want each of you, let's start with Dana, and we'll just work our way this way, and we'll end up with Trevor. And Trevor's going to talk about the Stackwell app and some of the things that you're going to get for being here today. Dana, give us one, and I just need one piece of literature or a book, podcast, YouTube channel, something that these folks need to either, if it's a book, need to download it, need to get it from your library. If it's a podcast, you need to subscribe or you need to listen. Everybody give us just one piece of content that you're like, y'all can learn a lot from that.
Gotcha. I would say my one book would be Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and Absolute Lust.
Anybody read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tweak your question a little bit.
You can't tweak my question.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I make my own questions. So I'm gonna give you guys two social media profiles that you guys can follow, so you may be familiar with them. So the first is The Broke Black Girl, and that is a very relatable, right, social media account that you can follow, and she gives really, I think, easily digestible suggestions on how you can implement basic financial practices. And then the second one is going to be the organized money, right? Let's give it up for Elena because let me tell you something. Elena makes budgeting look fun. Like, I get that. I totally understand it because she has like these pretty colors and like this process that's so clear, and like it makes it feel like, okay, I can do that. Like I can do that. And so I would say those are two that like literally every single day I'm getting something from those accounts where I'm like, okay, that's a good idea, or that's a good idea. So yeah, those would be my two.
So mine, one of my favorite books that I read was I Will Teach You How to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Definitely love that one. And another podcast I will give you is The Well-Balanced Black Girl. Love that podcast. It's a great listen, easy listen, as we're talking about easy resources, but definitely something that you should download.
For me, it would be a book called A Random Walk Down Wall Street, which was something that I read when I was probably around your ages, and it helped explain some of the trends that have happened, the bubbles that have existed in the market over the history of time, and really help you understand that, or help me understand that the professional people that I saw on Wall Street didn't actually have the leg up that I thought that they did, and that I was just as equipped to participate and be successful in the market as they were. So
that's so good. And that leg up almost that we're talking about, sometimes it feels like, hey, we don't have margin, like I got bills to pay, I can't afford to invest. But what we're kind of learning here today is almost like you can't afford not to, if this is something that you're serious about. But just to add to your margin, Stackwell is doing something special for you guys today.
So we've been talking around this all day long, but again, with the very generous contribution from Entergy Corporation, every single one of you and many of your friends and classmates that aren't here today as well, each of you are getting $100 to start your investment journey on Stackwell, which Sorry.
Some of the panelists.
Panelists do not get $100. We'll work on that. But so you guys get $100 to start your investment journey today. And so many of you, as you walked in today, encountered people on our team. You were encouraged to download the app. Some of you have probably started the onboarding process to set up your accounts. And what you will encounter as you go through that process is that we'll ask you some questions. We'll try to get a little bit of knowledge and understanding about who you are, what some of your goals are, how long you're trying to invest. And based on that information, we'll be able to recommend a portfolio for you. And, consistent with everything that all four of us have talked about today, we are not putting you in places that are risky. We are not chasing trends. We are diversifying your portfolio, that $100 that you're getting off the bat, across a range of assets. We're trying to get you exposure to the broadest part of the market as you possibly can, because we know that that process works. So as you guys go through that process, you will set up your account, you will see your $100 in your account in the next day or two, and then the rest will just kind of happen from there, right? We don't want you going into the app every single day, checking to see what happened in the market. It's not worth your time. We want you to consistently show up and invest what you can when you have it, because over time it will add up and it will be profound. The other things that you will encounter as you go through this program, you certainly will be able to consume educational content about investing and other just fundamental topics of personal financial wellness through the app. Educational content that we have there. There's a self-guided curriculum that we also have that you'll be getting from us through email and other sources. And then we will also have workshops like this one throughout the course of the next 12 months, where we are coming and putting tremendous, experienced, professional individuals that have been there and seen all of the things that you're likely to encounter, to be able to have those opportunities and those spaces to ask questions and feel vulnerable, let your guard down, and really get the outcomes that you all deserve to get. So, as I said at the beginning, I know we at Stackwell and the Entergy team are just humbled to be a small part of your process, and just the trajectory that you all are on, and what it is that you're going to build for your families and for your communities. We look forward to seeing how you all develop and the work that you do. And I think more important than anything, just you all should give yourselves like a round of applause for showing up today and investing in yourselves and being committed to this process, because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, to paraphrase Jay-Z, who I love to death. But y'all are here today with us, right? And that matters, and you're here for yourselves, and it's important. So thank you, I appreciate that.
Very important. Just one more hand. And y'all listen, because of some of the places that I've been able to go and to sit, and some of the conversations I've been a part of, and this is why this is important, y'all hear me. There are institutions and organizations that have a vested interest in keeping you out of the market, because they know that when you get in there, that you're going to be able to elevate your community, you're going to be able to elevate the spaces around you. And there are entities that are committed to keeping your community right where it is. And the only way, Trevor, I love the way Trevor talks about this, the only way that we can drive in outcomes is to participate. And we know that wealth helps to drive outcomes, and this is how we change the conversation, or at the very least begin to initiate the conversation. Y'all can leave here and go have some of these conversations with your friends and say, hey, like, I got a whole portfolio out here. Don't play with me. I got a whole portfolio. And that's going to be the truth. And you're not starting from zero. You're starting with $100, and who knows what that can become in a short period of time, y'all. One more time for our panelists, and for Stackwell, and for Entergy. Listen, they're going to be here afterwards, just down here as we're networking and as we're getting ready to close. And so since we're about to close, and as a matter of fact, panelists, y'all can go once we get finished, y'all come on down, y'all ask questions, y'all get in their head, y'all get contact information. But just before we go, we want to end this on a high note. We got one more raffle to give away. 2 Pelican home games today. We want to give it away. So drum roll, please. Sydney Whitmore from Xavier University.
That's not me.
Where you at, Sid? You don't want to come down? You embarrassed?
For it.
Sid, you come on down! No, okay. Look, we got somebody else. You don't want them? Who will take them? All right, let's see here. My man's in the blue Burberry shirt. Come on down. Well, hold up now. Just come on. Let's see. Come on. Hurry up. We got to go. But don't fall. Take your time.
The stairs hurt. That's a concrete stairs too.
You got your phone with you? Get your phone. Hurry up. Come on. Y'all give him a round of applause as he comes. Come on. All right, what's your name, man? Paris? Oh, get the music real quick. Let me see your phone. You got a Stackwell app downloaded? Congratulations, Paris, you got it! Let's go. Dillard University's on! Hey, listen, you all, thank you all for being here again. If we want to, can we shout out